Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Jake here. Hope everybody's having a great day out there today. It is time to put out my picks and predictions for the 98th Academy Awards. Who do I think is going to win? Who do I want to win? We're going to talk about it all right now, so let's dive into it. All right, so we're going to start with Best Picture. This race has gotten a little interesting in the last few weeks. One Battle has kind of swept everything. It's been a pretty clear-cut and dry front runner, and any other year you would think it's winning Best Picture, no doubt. But in the last couple of weeks, there's been this kind of surge in momentum for Sinners. And, Sinners winning SAG Ensemble, how the actor race is shaping up, how the supporting actress race is kind of shaped up in the last few weeks. There's been this thought that Sinners could win Best Picture. And it's been fascinating to watch play out. And as a fan of both of those movies, I'm great that we're just deciding between two awesome 10 out of 10 movies. But let's go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet. In case you don't know, I built this spreadsheet last year. It has every nomination and win across every precursor in every category for the last 26 years. So it's been a real passion project of mine. I've got some stats pages. I got precursor accuracy to see how the nominees line up. It was a big undertaking, and you're welcome to check it out anytime. I have different notes to help contextualize different races and stuff like that. So check it out in the top comment or in the description. It's really fun. You can access it anytime. So check it out there. So One Battle has won BAFTA, PGA, Critics' Choice, Golden Globe. Those are your four main Best Picture precursors, and One Battle's won all of them. And so, there's on paper you would think, oh, it's just One Battle easily. But Sinners winning SAG Ensemble, and obviously Michael B. Jordan winning SAG, has had a lot of people talking, and there's kind of been this groundswell of just people thinking maybe Sinners has it. Obviously, with it breaking the nomination record as well, that's possible. 16 nominations, not only breaking the record, but breaking the record by 2 nominations. So even if they did have the new category, if they didn't have the new category, sorry, it would still break the record. It's just been crazy. And so when it comes to actually predicting who's going to win Best Picture, I have to just go with the stats. I can't just predict Sinners to upset on a whim. I just kind of have to predict One Battle because it has everything. And on top of this, it has DGA and WGA. That PGA, DGA, WGA combo is pretty unstoppable on paper. And so I'm going to have to go with One Battle in terms of my predictions. It's the juggernaut to beat. And, until it loses, maybe it loses on Sunday. We don't know. But I have to just predict One Battle after another. My predicted winner my pick, who I would want to win, is Sinners. I love Sinners. That was my favorite movie of the year. So I would love for Sinners to win. Sentimental Value is my number 2 movie of the year, and then One Battle is number 3. So I'd love Sentimental Value to win. That movie was fantastic. But yeah, One Battle or Sinners winning, I would not be upset at all by either of those winning. It's great. And that's really all I can speak into the actual prediction conversation right now. You look at what's on paper, and One Battle has kind of taken everything. And, maybe Sinners does upset. Maybe we're all just completely shocked on Oscar night on Sunday. But, in terms of what I can actually predict right now, I have to go with One Battle after another.
I am editing this video right now, and I I have some more thoughts. I filmed that video yesterday, and since then I've just continued thinking, can Sinners actually freaking do it? And more so, the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it totally can. I'm feel much more inclined to predict Sinners, but predicting an upset on that big of a level is like, it's so hard to do. It's so hard to actually pull the trigger on an upset of that magnitude. You know what I mean? It's hard to do that. But I feel like I didn't do a great job in this video of exaggerating how close this race is. Because, I mean, it feels like, in a way, what Power of the Dog and Coda was if Coda didn't win PGA. But there was still momentum for that movie. I think Coda winning PGA that year, just the momentum kind of surged earlier on in the season than maybe Sinners did. Or maybe Sinners just kind of had that momentum all along, but Coda only had 3 nominations and Sinners has 16 freaking nominations. And so, I don't know. It's just, this is a tight race. Like, the betting odds right now are like overwhelmingly favoriting One Battle After Another, and maybe that's the one that wins. I just think this race is so much closer than any of us are expecting it to be. Like, it is neck and neck, dude. Like, part of me would not be surprised if Sinners ended up winning Best Picture, but I know I still would be surprised. It's so close. I think I'm still going to predict One Battle After Another. You'll see in my reaction video, if I have any updates, I'll say my updates before the actual ceremony starts. And I'll kind of finalize my predictions there. And obviously, as the night goes on, if we see certain categories swinging towards Sinners, then we'll start to understand that Sinners has a better shot. If Delroy Lindo or Wunmi Musaku or Sinners wins cinematography, if these things start happening, we're going to have to like really factor that in. If Michael B. Jordan ends up winning, if Ryan Coogler could somehow take down Paul Thomas Anderson in director. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just saying these little things can drop hints that Sinners is going to win Best Picture. I don't know if Sinners can win Best Picture without picking up another surprise win. That's something I'm kind of considering right now. Like, with my current predictions, Sinners would be winning casting, Michael B. Jordan would be winning, it would be winning score. Can Sinners win with that package? I mean, obviously so. It's a great package and screenplay, of course. It's a great package to win Best Picture, but in terms of the current momentum, in terms of what One Battle is doing right now, winning director, adapted screenplay, cinematography, editing, possibly supporting actress. I mean, that category is so up in the air right now. And especially with One Battle's Best Picture precursors, does it have a shot? Does Sinners have a shot to win without picking up some other surprise nomination? I really don't know. I think if the awards kind of go as we expect them to go, Michael B. Jordan wins, One Battle wins cinematography and editing, Paul Thomas Anderson wins director, I think Best Picture is going to feel a lot more up in the air. I think it'd be really hard for One Battle to feel like the overwhelming favorite to win as Best Picture is being read. I just don't think there's that potential for it to like really feel like, oh, well, it's obviously One Battle. Unless maybe Tiana Taylor won, but even then, I'm not sure. I really don't know. So it's just, I really feel like, I cannot stress enough, this race is tight. It is neck and neck. And in my mind, I am constantly thinking about, can Sinners actually win? Is Sinners actually going to win? And I'm grateful I only have to wait 3 more days to find that out, but it feels like an eternity. So anyways, again, in my Oscar reaction video, you'll see before any of my reactions, before the ceremony starts, you'll see if I change any of my predictions. But I'm still kind of leaning on One Battle just because of that precursor strength. But it really does feel like the momentum is really shifting towards Sinners, and this is me addressing that. So still processing, still thinking through a lot of things. It might end up changing, but as of right now, Thursday, March 12th, I'm leaning One Battle. and that's all you're going to get from me right now.
For Best Director, this is honestly one of the easiest categories of the night, because even in a world where Sinners won Best Picture, I still think Paul Thomas Anderson would win Best Director, because let's take a look here at the spreadsheet. Paul Thomas Anderson has not lost, period. He has literally swept everything. And so Paul Thomas Anderson is just winning the Oscar for Best Director, which is great. He is awesome. He crafted a really great movie. And I'm really excited for him to get a directing Oscar. But in terms of my personal pick, who I would want to win, probably my favorite movie of the year would clue you into that. It would be Ryan Coogler for Sinners. I think what he crafted is just unbelievable. Crafted this really unique and singular experience, something that's so creative and that I've never seen before. And it just hypes me up for the future of cinema. But I think Paul Thomas Anderson, what he does with One Battle After Another, is amazing as well. So I'm totally fine with him winning Best Director. I love that, actually. He does a great job navigating these different tones across One Battle After Another, where it's kind of an action movie, it's kind of a political thriller, it's even got these stoner comedy flavors in there. It's just great. It's got this really heartfelt family drama at the center of it. It's just a great movie. Both of those movies are great. I'd be great with either one of them winning, but Paul Thomas Anderson has swept, so he is winning the director Oscar. And like I said, even if Sinners won Best Picture, Paul Thomas Anderson would still win Best Director. All right, now let's talk about the lead acting categories. Let's start with lead actress. This is an easy one. Jessie Buckley has swept everywhere, every freaking where. BAFTA, SAG, Critics' Choice, and Golden Globe Drama. The only person that has won a different award is Rose Byrne for Golden Globe Comedy, but that was A, 2 months ago, and B, in a category where they split drama and comedy, so they had to have another winner there. So it's Jessie Buckley by a country mile. She is winning that Oscar. She's had her name on the Oscar since TIFF, since the movie premiered, and has been getting all of these rave reviews. It's been Jessie Buckley. It's been Jessie Buckley, and I'm happy she's going to win her Oscar. She's a great actress. In terms of who I would want to win, my personal pick, it's Renata Reinsva in Sentimental Value. That was my favorite lead performance of the year. She is so unbelievably good in that movie. I love her performance so much. But yeah, Jessie Buckley is winning the Oscar. And that's great. She deserves it. But now let's talk about lead actor, because this is the fun one right now. Actually, this isn't the craziest acting category. We'll talk about that one next. Foreshadowing. Lead actor is absolutely insane. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet. Let's see what we've got here. Look how spread apart this all is. That's nuts. So Timothée Chalamet starts out strong. Golden Globe Comedy, Critics' Choice Award. Wagner Moura winning the Golden Globe Drama. That's a good little get that kind of keeps him in the running. And then you have Michael B. Jordan winning SAG, and then Robert Aramayo winning BAFTA, who obviously is not nominated everywhere. That movie was not eligible for the Oscars this year, so obviously he's not here. So you've kind of got this little race happening that's a little hard to it's kind of hard to navigate, because do you go with who has the most wins? Do you go with who has won more recently? Do you go with who has the momentum? You kind of have to factor all of that in. There's not just a clear-cut formula for figuring out who's going to win the Oscar. If you watch Ryan Castleman's video on these, he does a really good job of trying to come up with a pretty balanced formula of how you can determine who's going to win the acting prizes. But as he mentions in the video, they're not perfect. The formulas are not perfect. It's just a way for us to try and determine and do our best job at figuring out what we can do. So I'll actually link that video down in the description below. It's really good. I highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, so if you're going based off of who has won the most awards, it's obviously Timothée Chalamet. Since Marty Supreme came out, people are thinking, heck yeah, this is Timothée Chalamet's time. But there's factors outside of the just awards circuit that you have to factor in with something like this, because Timothée Chalamet kind of has this arrogance to him that people don't really like. Obviously, his recent comments about opera and ballet and all of that, like, I'm not gonna contribute my thoughts on that conversation, because that's not why you watch my videos. But that's at least making some people feel a certain way about him, and whether or not he deserves an Oscar. And so I think a lot of people right now are just thinking Michael B. Jordan, and I am clued in. I'm thinking Michael B. Jordan as well, for a couple primary reasons. So those reasons being, one, Michael B. Jordan won while Oscar voting was happening. Obviously, that is huge. That clues us into what is actually happening in the midst of Oscar voting, and how especially the actors branch in the Academy is feeling going into the Oscars. Number two, Michael B. Jordan is the lead in Sinners, which obviously broke the nomination record. The Academy loves that movie, much more so than Marty Supreme. That obviously is a huge factor. Number three, Michael B. Jordan is a little bit more storied actor, especially in the industry. They're both really young guys, but Michael B. Jordan has been around a little bit longer. He's had a bigger presence in Hollywood and making some fantastic films as well. Things like Creed and Fruitvale Station, even into things like Black Panther. He's just a very likable and charismatic figure. Timothée Chalamet kind of has this youthful arrogance to him. And so I'm not saying that those are reasons that Michael B. Jordan are going to win necessarily, but I'm saying those are the things that I'm kind of factoring in as I'm trying to decide what's happening. And the other thing, the major thing, is that Timothée Chalamet has not won an industry award. He didn't win BAFTA. He didn't win SAG. That clues me into something being off. There's a disconnect between the press and the journalists and the critics against the actual industry and what they want to see happen at the Oscars. And so I'm predicting Michael B. Jordan to win the Oscar. I think it's going to happen. I'm excited for him if he ends up winning. He's just, like I said, he's a great actor. He's been around for a while now, and he's just been consistently putting out great performances. He's so good in the movie Sinners as well, and so he really deserves this. And so I'm predicting Michael B. Jordan. My desired pick actually is Timothée Chalamet. Say what you will about the man, say what you will about the things that he says and the things that he does. His performance in Marty Supreme is unbelievable. He is so good in that movie. He's transcendent, and it's just like, he's just unbelievable in that movie. And so as a performance itself, not even speaking on the movie's quality or anything like that, just as a performance, my desired pick is Timothée Chalamet. But I also want to see Michael B. Jordan win an Oscar, and this might be the best chance that he has. I don't know. We don't know what he's going to make in the future. So anyways, to see Michael B. Jordan win not only an Oscar in general, but for him to win an Oscar for Sinners would make me very excited, because I love that movie so much. So there's lead actor. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe I need to adjust this, because I think I'm going to put him up there as well. So yeah, I think Wagner Moura has a shot. I mean, he's only won Golden Globe drama, but I mean, he's in a Best Picture nominee, and that says something. Obviously he's won an acting prize before, so who knows? We'll see. And with the greater international voting presence, maybe Wagner Moura has a shot. We don't know. But I think it's more so between Michael B. Jordan and Timothée Chalamet, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. All right, let's talk about the supporting categories at the Oscars. Supporting actress is the craziest above-the-line category that we have this year. This is crazy. This is legitimately a three-way race. And unfortunately, the two that are not in that race are both in my number 2 movie of the year, Sentimental Value. Inga and Elle Fanning, I love y'all. Y'all put up incredible performances, but they're not in contention to win the Oscar, unfortunately. So let's talk about Amy Madigan versus Tiana Taylor versus Woonmi Musaku. So we're going to go ahead and consult the spreadsheet on this. We're going to be looking at this cell right here. This is wild. This is wild. As this kind of alludes to, it's pretty spread out and it's pretty crazy trying to determine what's going to actually happen. When you're actually looking at when these wins happened, BAFTA happened, I think, 4 days before Oscar voting started, and SAG happened in the middle of Oscar voting. Very different timelines and can influence in some very different ways. So I think Amy Madigan winning at SAG obviously is a massive deal. Just when people were like, oh, she's only won Critics' Choice, I don't think she's going to win the Oscar. But now she wins SAG, and now people are thinking she has a shot, which is crazy. But then Wunmi Musaku winning the BAFTA like just before Oscar voting starts for a movie like Sinners obviously is a big deal and something you have to factor in. You also can factor in that Wunmi Musaku is British, and obviously at the British Academy, the BAFTAs, there could be a bit of a British bias there that you just have to kind of factor that in. And the only British actor that did not win at BAFTA was Sean Penn, which we'll talk about in supporting actor in a second. So it's just kind of crazy right now. And then you have Tiana Taylor, who's in One Battle After Another, the supposed Best Picture winner right now. She's only won Golden Globe, but she plays such an important role in the movie, even though she's only in the movie for like 30 minutes. There's just so much to factor in right now. So the way I'm going to predict this is I'm going to go with Amy Madigan because she has multiple wins. She has an industry win. She has an earlier win. She's been around longer than the other actors. She's more of a well-known name, and so you can play the narrative card, the overdue actress card, or she even has this narrative of like this relatively unknown actress. Like I had never even heard of Amy Madigan until Weapons. And she comes in, breaks into the scene late in her career in this big role and is giving it 110% in this crazy, wacky horror movie and just becoming a really likable character and being this big part of like the culture at that time. Like it's just a lot to factor in. So I'm going to go with Amy Madigan for my prediction. I might even do Wunmi Musaku at number 2. I think her industry win at BAFTA is a bigger deal, and the fact that she's in Sinners and people thinking that movie has momentum right now, I'm gonna factor that in. I don't know, actually. I might just do Tiana Taylor because she's in One Battle After Another, and she does so much with her 30 minutes. I don't know. I think I'll probably just stick with Tiana Taylor. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Amy Madigan in terms of my actual prediction. My desired pick is Ingab's daughter Lilias in Sentimental Value. She's so good. She becomes the heart and soul of that movie by the end of it. But this is the craziest race in above the line categories. Maybe of the entire night, honestly. Honestly, it might be the craziest race of the night. I'm just, these faces are staring back at me and I don't know what to do because I think all three of them have a pathway to winning the Oscar. So let's go ahead and actually jump in to supporting actor. We have Sean Penn, Stellan, Delroy Lindo, Benicio del Toro, Jacob Elordi. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, Sean Penn has won both industry awards. On paper, for me, that's enough to call that race. Winning BAFTA and SAG, it's pretty unstoppable as a combo. If we look at the stats here, at least in terms of supporting actor, if you win SAG and BAFTA, that is an unlosable combo in the last 26 years. So, or in the last 25 years. The 12 people that have won both SAG and BAFTA have ultimately gone on to win the Oscar every time. So, I got to go with Sean Penn in terms of my prediction. I think Jacob Elordi maybe has a shot, but I don't think so. I mean, he's just playing the creature in Frankenstein, and Frankenstein is nowhere close to winning Best Picture. Sean Penn is in the picture frontrunner and is kind of the main villain of the movie. Stellan Skarsgård could win, but he has only won Golden Globe. He didn't even win BAFTA, and he missed a nomination at SAG, which is just kind of like 3 kind of big punches that he's taken. And it's just hard to predict him for a win. So I mean, you could also apply the overdue narrative here for Stellan Skarsgård. I mean, he's been working in the industry for a long time. Sean Penn already has 2 Oscars, and Stellan Skarsgård is kind of overdue. But the Oscars do not play favorites all the time with the narrative. The narrative, I guess. They don't always go for the narratives. That's what I'm saying. If you look at Chadwick Boseman and Anthony Hopkins, if you look at Glenn Close and Olivia Colman, like, they don't always do that. And in fact, they seldom do. Demi Moore versus Mikey Madison last year. Like, they don't go for the narratives most of the time. The other one that I think is worth looking into is Delroy Lindo, who only has the Oscar nomination, granted, but has made multiple speeches on behalf of the Sinners cast. So in places where Sinners has won ensemble, SAG especially, Delroy Lindo has been the one to make those speeches. So while he hasn't won an award because he hasn't been nominated everywhere, he's still making speeches, and he's still not only speaking on behalf of himself, but also speaking on behalf of the cast of Sinners. So I think that's something to factor in. I don't think he's going to win the Oscar, especially with that SAG-BAFTA combo from Sean Penn. I have to predict him pretty handedly. But I'm keeping my eye on Delroy Lindo. I'm keeping him in my peripheral view. In terms of my personal pick, who I would want to win, Stellan Skarsgård. If you can't tell, I think Sentimental Value is the best acted movie of the year. So I would go Stellan Skarsgård. I think the character that he crafts there is fascinating. I just love what he does in that movie. But yeah, Sean Penn, I think, is winning the Oscar, which is crazy. 3rd Oscar. It's a very rare club, but there we are. We're going to quickly talk about the screenplay categories. These are both pretty easy. We have 2 sweepers on our hands. We have original screenplay Sinners, adapted screenplay One Battle After Another. If we take a look at the spreadsheet, we have Sinners has not lost. The only place it lost was Golden Globe, but Golden Globe only has 1 screenplay category, and so only 1 film can win screenplay there. And then One Battle hasn't lost either. So Ryan Coogler, Paul Thomas Anderson, both getting writing Oscars, which is exciting. I really wanted Ryan Coogler to win an Oscar for Sinners because I think that movie is just so brilliant. And so for him to at least have the screenplay award is all I need to be like totally content with Sinners' performance at the Oscars. So I think that's pretty easily Sinners and One Battle After Another, your screenplay winners at the Oscars. And then I think in terms of my personal picks for adapted screenplay, definitely One Battle After Another. Original screenplay, it's kind of between Sinners and Sentimental Value in terms of who I would want to win. I think I mean Sinners is my favorite movie of the year, but I think as a screenplay, as how it's written, the dialogue, I think I might have to go with Sentimental Value. I think that movie is so brilliantly done. I think the way that it writes its characters, how the story is structured, how it navigates these different themes is really, really brilliant. I just also think what Ryan Coogler wrote and was able to do with Sinners is unbelievable as well. So honestly, either of those 2 would be my personal picks. I'd probably lean more towards Sentimental Value. But I want Ryan Coogler to win an Oscar for Sinners, and so he's going to do that on Sunday, and I'm very excited. All right, let's jump into some below-the-line categories. We're just going to go in order on Award Expert here. Let's talk about casting. Casting is probably going to go to Sinners. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. I got to find it on here real quick. There it is. So the casting category has been kind of weird. It's been a little all over the place, as you can see. The Casting Society, they have a drama and a comedy category, so there's obviously a lot of nominees that are just there because they fill up a lot of spots. One Battle After Another missed the Guild nomination. I don't think it was eligible. That could be it. But either way, missed that nomination. Hamnet missed the BAFTA nomination, which is crazy because it won British film at BAFTAs. But if you're looking in terms of just how many awards have been won, Sinners is the only one that has won multiple. And honestly, the only Oscar nominee that has won a precursor in the casting category. When it comes to the Casting Society of America or the other winners, at the Artios Awards, Jay Kelly won. It wasn't nominated at Oscar, and I Swear won at BAFTA, and it wasn't nominated at the Oscar. So you gotta just think it's Sinners, and it has this good mixture of kind of older actors that have been in the game for a while, people like Delroy Lindo. And then you have these more kind of prominent actors, younger actors that are working today, people like Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, stuff like Jack O'Connell maybe. And then you have like young undiscovered talent like Miles Caton, and you just have this big ensemble cast kind of spanning across generations and stories and all that. So I think Sinners is your Oscar winner. When it comes to who I would want to win, I would probably go Sinners as well. I think the find for Miles Caton alone is worthy of that Oscar win. But also, One Battle After Another has some great casting as well. Obviously, finding Chase Infinity, who kind of functions as the lead for a lot of the movie, is pretty great. Tiana Taylor and all that, she's great in that movie as well. But I think Sinners, just the way that it, like I said, it has these kind of different stories where we have these older legacy actors, some younger, more prominent actors, some undiscovered talent that are really making a name for themselves. I think I have to go with Sinners as my pick and my prediction. International feature is an interesting one. It's basically between Sentimental Value and The Secret Agent. Those are the two that have been nominated in Best Picture. Rest in peace. It was just an accident. Even though you're nominated in Screenplay, you're not in Best Picture, so you're not gonna win. So Sentimental Value versus Secret Agent. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. We have The Secret Agent winning Critics' Choice and Golden Globe, and then Sentimental Value winning BAFTA. So you could kind of go either way with this. I mean, Sentimental Value won the one industry precursor, and The Secret Agent won the two non-industry precursors, and they're both in Best Picture.
One thing I forgot to mention about Sentimental Value, and a big reason why I'm going for it in International Feature, is yes, if you look at the spreadsheet, Sentimental Value did miss a Critics' Choice nomination, but they have a rule where if you are nominated in Best Picture, you cannot be nominated in International Film. And so Sentimental Value was obviously so strong that it couldn't get nominated in International Feature, if that makes sense. Like, it was so far above the other nominees that it just got nominated for Best Picture and could not be nominated for International Feature. So that's another reason why I voted for, or I'm predicting Sentimental Value, but I didn't mention that, so I just wanted to do that here.
So I'm going to go with Sentimental Value in terms of my prediction. That's obviously my desired pick as well, my number 2 movie of the year. I would also love to see Sarat win. It was just an accident. Secret Agent. I would honestly love any of those to win. I have not seen The Voice of Hind Rajab. I want to, but I can't say it's like a personal pick because I haven't seen it. But honestly, either of those 4 Neon films, they're great, and I would love to see them win. But I think Sentimental Value is the best one. I would love to see Joachim Trier go up and accept an award. That'd be awesome, especially for a great film like Sentimental Value. So Sentimental Value, pick, and prediction. So every precursor has gone for a different winner. We have The Perfect Neighbor winning Critics' Choice, Tale of Cillian, which wasn't nominated, winning the IDA, Come and See Me in the Good Light winning Cinema Eye, which got a surprise Oscar nomination. That's there. PGA going with My Mom Jane, which wasn't an Oscar. and BAFTA going with Mr. Nobody against Putin, which is at the Oscars. So you kind of have these three winners that have at least that are at the Oscars. You have The Perfect Neighbor with Critics' Choice, Come and See Me in the Good Light at Cinema Eye, and Mr. Nobody Against Putin at BAFTA. And when you're kind of looking at things, you obviously with documentary, you want to factor in things like the political state of things, what the political topic is. Like obviously last year was a very interesting one. Let's actually look at last year's documentary. I mean, it was a little bit more clear cut and dry. No Other Land had won Cinema Eye and IDA. But then Superman won BAFTA PGA, but Superman wasn't nominated at Oscar. And so it was this kind of weird race of like nobody was really there at Oscar that had won a precursor other than No Other Land. So you kind of had to go with that one. If we take a look at the stats, I don't know if I have documentary. No, I don't have documentary stats on here yet. I'm going to work on that. So it's all kind of up in the air right now. I'm feeling more obliged to go with Mr. Nobody Against Putin because of the fact that BAFTA happened a few days before Oscar voting opened. Again, The Perfect Neighbor is more accessible because it's from Netflix, but I think I'm gonna predict Mr. Nobody Against Putin, and maybe The Perfect Neighbor wins, and that's what happens. But in terms of what I think is going to win, probably Mr. Nobody Against Putin, just again on account of that being an industry award and that happening a few days before Oscar voting started. But I have no idea in this category.
I forgot to put in my personal pick for the documentary category. I have only seen The Perfect Neighbor, and so I am going to mark that as my personal pick. But again, that's the only one I've seen, so that's the one I kind of have to go for. So there you go. Mr. Nobody Against Putin prediction. The Perfect Neighbor is my personal pick.
Animated feature, this is an easy one. This is K-pop Demon Hunters. This one's going to win. No problem. We can look at the spreadsheet if you want, but it has not lost anywhere except for BAFTA, and the only reason why it lost at BAFTA is because it was not eligible, so it wasn't even there. And I think if it had been eligible at BAFTA, it would have won there. So K-pop Demon Hunters, essentially a sweep, a hypothetical sweep. I will call that. So yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters gonna be your Oscar winner. In terms of who I would want to win, I'm also gonna go with K-pop Demon Hunters. The soundtrack is gas. Like I don't even want to hear it from people. K-pop Demon Hunters rules. It's so much fun. The animation style is awesome. The action is great. The animation style is gorgeous. The music is so much fun. Has a great story. I also really liked Zootopia 2. I was very pleasantly surprised by Zootopia 2. I think that would be a great win, but I think in a year with K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2 winning would feel kind of off. So I think K-pop Demon Hunters is the one that deserves to win here. I think it's going to win. So there you go. K-pop Demon Hunters pick and prediction. All right, let's dive into some of the technical categories. Let's start with cinematography. This was a really interesting race up until about a week or two ago. You had Sinners as like the early critic favorite. Train Dreams won Critics' Choice. And then One Battle just decided to start winning everything. It won the BSC, British Society of Cinematographers. It won the ASC. And it won the BAFTA. Once that all happened, I was like, oh, so One Battle's just winning cinematography then. And so that's what you got to think. It's got 3 precursor wins, all industry awards. It's just great. Train Dreams, winning Critics' Choice is a good get. I think Sinners also has a shot at taking that. But, just looking at it on paper, One Battle after another should be the winner here. My personal pick, again, probably not a surprise, but Sinners. I think the cinematography is phenomenal. I love how they use the super wide Panavision 276 aspect ratio and how they utilize the IMAX aspect ratio. It's really, really cool. I also love the cinematography of One Battle After Another. I think specifically of like when they're moving Leonardo DiCaprio across the rooftops, trying to get him out. Things like the rolling hills and the car chase at the end, just really, really well shot, beautiful film texture from both of those movies. But One Battle After Another is my prediction, and Sinners is my personal pick. In editing, this is another fun one. Let's talk about editing for a second. So Critics' Choice went with F1, and, that was the first precursor, and people were like, oh my gosh, can F1 actually win? No, because One Battle has won both of the industry awards. It won One Battle it won the BAFTA, and One Battle won the Eddie Awards, which is the ACE, which is the Editors Guild. And then in drama, where F1 was actually nominated, they gave it to Sinners. It just kind of clued me in that Sinners was really well liked in the industry, even just from the editors really loving Sinners, and so they gave it the drama award. And so even in a category where F1 was nominated, so F1 I don't think has a shot. In fact, I'm probably going to do this job, ba-bam, right there. We're gonna kick F1 down a peg. So yeah, One Battle After Another is my predicted winner. Obviously, winning BAFTA and the Eddie is a big deal, and we can look at the stats on that if we take a look-see here. That person goes on to win 8 out of 9 times, and the last time that did not happen was in 2000. So, you gotta take it for what it is. So, we got One Battle winning, pick and that's my prediction, and my personal pick is also One Battle After Another. I think that is the editing of the year, taking a 2 hour and 40-minute movie and making that time fly by in the theater, watching it at home. It's just fantastic. It's really, really well constructed. The pacing is unbelievable. It is the feat in editing this year. I think it's the editing achievement of the year. It deserves to win. So One Battle After Another, pick and prediction. Now we move on to the Frankenstein Awards. Sorry, I mean production design, costume design, makeup, and hairstyling, which I have predicted to all go to Frankenstein, and then secondly to go to Sinners. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet on those three. We won't spend too much time here because I think it's going to be pretty easy. Frankenstein in production design has swept, hasn't lost. Costume design, Frankenstein has won everywhere. BAFTA, Costume Designers Guild, Critics' Choice. And then makeup and hairstyling, you have a lot of different categories here: contemporary, period of character, makeup, hairstyling, special effects. But special effects is kind of the one you want to look at. Makeup and hair, the Oscars love their prosthetics, and most of the other precursors do as well. And Frankenstein has not lost yet. Critics' Choice winning the Makeup and Hair Guild for special effects, and then BAFTA winning as well. Frankenstein just sweeping all three of those categories. It's very hard to deny. And I think in all three of those categories, I would also want Frankenstein to win. It's just really well done. Guillermo del Toro always does a great job with production design and costume design and makeup. He's just so good with all of that. It's also practical and so well done. So Frankenstein in production design, costume design, and makeup and hair, all three, pick and prediction for Frankenstein. Visual effects, this is another easy one. Avatar Fire and Ash is just kind of the basic one. It's like if there's an Avatar movie and the visual effects are phenomenal, which they are. But let's go to the spreadsheet for visual effects. Avatar just hasn't lost yet. And so BAFTA, Visual Effects Society for main visual effects, and then Critics' Choice. Just tough to beat. I think Sinners winning VES was another sign of support for that movie, and the guild's just liking Sinners a lot. And obviously the twin effects that they do in that movie are really, really impressive. The little halo rig that they built to be able to make that happen, to preserve Michael B. Jordan's performance with both smoke and stack, and even in moments where they're interacting with each other, fighting with each other, it's still Michael B. Jordan's performance the whole time. And so the visual effects actually kind of make that happen and actually kind of support what Michael B. Jordan is doing with both of those characters. But Avatar is the undeniable front runner. Avatar is just, those movies are known for their brilliant visual effects. So it's hard to deny that this movie is just gonna win visual effects. maybe there is a world where Sinners sneaks in. I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd put it at number 4, but I don't think this matters enough. It's because Avatar is just going to win. So I don't think the order of these three in the middle, like I said, I just don't think they matter too much because Avatar is just going to win. So there you go. Avatar. That's also going to be my personal pick as well. Those are just the best visual effects. It's the gold standard right now. I just think it's so brilliant what they do there. For best sound, F1 is kind of the favorite here. Let's take a look at the precursors. I mean, F1 has won BAFTA, the Cinema Audio Society, which is for sound mixing, and then Critics' Choice. And then the MPSE, which is for sound editing, went with Frankenstein. So that's different. But it's kind of the unexpected winner. People were thinking maybe it could be Sinners all season. Seurat maybe deserves a win all season, but it just they have not won awards yet. And F1 has not only 2 industry awards, but also Critics' Choice. Way back then, if you take a look at the stats, you can look at the precursors and how they matter. And F1, any Guild win and BAFTA win, which is what F1 has, they go on to win the Oscar 11 out of 13 times. And the 2 times they haven't were 2005 and 2015, which I guess these are 2025 movies. So maybe that little 10-year break from that stat, maybe this is the year. I don't know. That's actually crazy. I didn't even notice that those are 2005, 2015, and now we're talking 2025 movies. So who knows? Maybe we'll see the stat break this year. But like I said, in terms of predictions, I kind of just have to go with F1 because it's won a good amount of precursors. In terms of who I would want to win, I'm actually going to go with Seurat here. Seurat's sound design is unbelievable. I think it's such an achievement what they did in that movie. Not only just the sound design, but the score. I think that kind of plays into the sound design as well, the sound mixing and all of that. It's just really well done. I think it's brilliant sound work in that movie. So that is definitely the one that I would want to win. I'd also love to see Sinners win sound as well. But Seurat is like my true favorite sound design of the year. But F1 is my prediction. We'll see what happens. Maybe that 10-year break does break the stat. I don't know. That's just a weird little coincidence that I just saw. So I don't know. But if that stat does break, you heard it here first. Alrighty, let's talk original score. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. Sinners is kinda the favorite right here. I mean, it hasn't lost. Ludwig Göransson winning Golden Globe Critics' Choice, the Studio Film Award at the Song and Score Guild, and then winning BAFTA as well, which I didn't think it would win BAFTA because it's such a like Jim Crow 1920s Southern bluegrass Mississippi mixed in with these like horror tones and stuff like that. But everybody's just been giving Sinners the win, and I am here for it. I'm here for it all day. And so Sinners is just the unapologetic favorite. Ludwig Göransson about to win his 3rd Oscar in 7 years, which is crazy. So Sinners, I think, is the predictions, the way to go. My personal pick, as much as I love the Sinners soundtrack, is actually One Battle After Another. I think some of the themes that Johnny Greenwood writes in with his score are really, really great. When I went back and listened through all of the nominees, I couldn't help but just think about the scenes that the music accompanies in One Battle After Another. Like, just hearing the tracks just made me think about the movie and what the movie was saying and what was happening in those scenes where that song is playing. I just thought it was really, really great, and it's really stuck with me. I think musically it's incredible. It's brilliant. But Sinners is going to win. That's my prediction. One Battle After Another is my desired pick. All right, original song. This is an easy one. Golden has swept, and so it's just going to win. If we look at it, I mean, the Society of Composers and Lyricists split it between comedy and drama. And so, you know, that I lied to you on drama. I would definitely say that's number 2 to win the Oscar, but Golden won Critics' Choice and Golden Globe. And Golden is just the let it go from this year. It's the song from a kid's film that has just taken the world by storm, that every kid is singing right now. Every parent knows it. Everybody has heard Golden. And so Golden is just going to be the winner. I Lied to You is my favorite in the category, so that's my personal pick. I want that song to win so bad. I think the music of that song is unbelievable, but it's going to be Golden, and that's great. I think it's great. It's not the best K-pop Demon Hunter song, but it's a good song, and it'll win. So K-pop Demon Hunters is my prediction. I Lied to You is my personal pick. And then as we wrap up, let's talk about the short film categories real quick. There's no precursors for these. Which I guess there are. I'd love to hear if you know of any precursors for the short films. I just don't know of any, so I don't have those in my spreadsheet. But if there are, that's sounding like a lot of work for me to do in my spreadsheet. But I'm willing to do it if there are precursors. So documentary short, I'm thinking it's All of the Empty Rooms. I mean, that one being available on Netflix is a big deal. Armed Only with a Camera is about a journalist and a filmmaker, so that could be something. But I mean, especially with documentary short, you kind of have to think about the political side of things as well. Armed Only with a Camera is about Brent Renaud and how he captured war and how he communicated that back to the States, back to the rest of the world. And he was killed in the Russia-Ukraine war, but it focuses a lot on other wars and just how he captured that. And All the Empty Rooms is about school shootings, and so I think that is a little bit more politically. I think it's more focused in terms of its topic, and I think in terms of what the Academy is, who makes up the Academy, I think it's a lot. I think people are a lot more unified on that than this subject is. So I'm going with All the Empty Rooms. All the Empty Rooms is a really emotional one. The documentary itself is not the best constructed, I felt like, but I think in terms of an actual subject matter, that one was the one that emotionally affected me the most. Yeah, I would probably say that is the one I would want to win as well. I don't know. Maybe Armed Only with a Camera would be the one, actually. There were a couple of editing choices in Armed Only with a Camera that I really liked. So I would actually probably say Armed Only with a Camera is my personal pick. All the Empty Rooms is my prediction. But honestly, you could swap either of those two in either my pick or my prediction. And yeah, that's probably where I would settle. I don't know. Animated short. My favorite one is Butterfly. That is just the best one. I think also that's my prediction as well. It's just really, really beautiful, really well done. Says so much in a short amount of time. Check out Butterfly if you haven't. It's so good. I really liked The Girl Who Cried Pearls as well, but I think that one is a little bit more kind of vague in terms of what its message is. Butterfly, it speaks a lot more clearly, and I think it's better animated as well. I think it's going to be more emotionally impactful for the Academy as they watch it. So I'm going to go Butterfly pick and prediction, and then live action short. A Friend of Dorothy is kind of the catch-all. I mean, it's hitting your kind of comedic at times, has a little bit of political relevancy as it's just kind of talks about race relations and stuff like that. It has this unlikely friendship that's really easy to latch onto. It's really sweet. Obviously, spoken in English is a big deal with the Academy, even though last year's live action short winner was not spoken in English. And I don't know. But I think A Friend of Dorothy is just kind of a good catch-all in terms of what the Academy might latch onto in terms of who they would want to win. It's just kind of got a little bit of everything. And so I would predict that one. Two People Exchanging Saliva is very artistically done. It's more of like a poetic kind of short film. So I could maybe see that one winning, but it is spoken in French, so I don't know if that's going to be a hang-up for people. The Singers, maybe. I mean, it's a Netflix one. It's a sweet one just about male friendship. And so I think any of those could win. I'm going to predict A Friend of Dorothy. Like I said, it's just kind of that catch-all. Has a little bit of everything that the Oscars might want. My personal pick, I'd actually probably go with The Singers. I just thought that one was really sweet. I'm a musician, so I love music. I love I love a little short film about the power of music. It makes me think of The Last Repair Shop last year, which was a fantastic documentary short. I love music. I love seeing male vulnerability and male friendship captured really well, especially in a short film like that. The Singers just made me feel everything. Just seeing this little vignette of a bunch of different men's lives and just as they're walking through it and how music kind of speaks to each of them. So The Singers is my personal pick. A Friend of Dorothy is my prediction, though. I did find that one to be kind of sweet, though, so I wouldn't be mad if it won.
One more thing I'll add about Sinners and winning Best Picture. There's a lot of categories where Sinners isn't predicted to win, but it's maybe number 2 in the category. Things like costume design or sound or cinematography. If Sinners goes up a win or multiple wins in the course of Oscar night, be on red alert, because that means they freaking love Sinners and everybody's going to want to vote for that thing in Best Picture. So just be on the lookout for that. I don't know if that's going to happen. That's honestly why I have Sinners at number 2 in a lot of categories, just because there's so much overwhelming love for that movie, but there's also overwhelming love for One Battle After Another. So it's hard to determine right now where the love is at, and we'll find out on Sunday.
And there you have it. Those are my predictions for the 98th Academy Awards. Let me know what you're thinking in some of those toss-up categories down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please help me out. I'm scared. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you at the Oscars.